but I needed to actually process what had happened, and name the things that were griefs, to name the things that were losses, to like not just make it okay, but like the question was, but can I still go back? Like, can I still come here and like to this community and, you know, Kenya in general, and live wholeheartedly, I think.
CTA video
6
12
17. You never truly know people until you take the time out to get to know people. When you hear where somebody's coming from with their story, and then you hear about where they want to go, because of understanding where they've come from, you get to understand where they want to go with weight, or where they're at with a lot of weight. So as you've shared the story of USAID, I'm just like, okay, wow. I felt your joy of walking into Joe's office and seeing all the medication, and I understand it to a small degree from your story, what it feels like when the USAID funding has just been yanked out. It's not about it going, it's about the manner in also which it's gone. Okay, let's go back to 2004. We're not living this year, or are we now? Let's transition then from 2004. So now it's clear what you were doing at that time. By the way, you're really good at not just painting pictures, but putting an emotion and a feeling to what was happening there. Yeah.
Thanks.
Continue. Where does the story go on for that?
So we continued the work over the next couple of years, really going into homes, still connecting people, and then was here for the post-election violence in 2007 and 8, and experienced like the darkness of that period, and like that's when my parents really wanted me to leave, and choosing to stay, and you know, like I was young and trying to navigate, like this has been my home and community, and then experienced like all of that.
Did you lose people that you knew?
Yeah, we lost people, but we also like just, I think the way there was like such hopelessness in like, I think government and justice, like it felt like there was that piece, and then where it felt like for a long time, like there's been this calm that is not the same as peace, like really rise up and come undone. And so like I just had to really process that over time. But in 2008, in April, we were doing home visits, and I was with one of our social workers. So it's a few months after that. Like, and I mean, we were still there as a community, but like it was just a rough time for the country and to experience all of that. But I was on a home visit, and there was a little girl who was 2 years old who she was an orphan, she was HIV positive, and she was living with her grandmother, and she was like so near death, and she was malnourished, and I just held her and wondered what could be, you know, like, can she come back to life? And longing for that to be for her. And then went to the second home visit of another like 11-month-old baby who like looked the same. There was treatment, but there was so much malnutrition. The father had recently died, and it was just dark. It was dark. And so Ruth was the name of the social worker. The two of us came back home. I sat with Allison and David and just explained, like, I guess it was similar to 2004, even though there was treatment, like there was just this gap of not just needing medicine, but at that time, like they needed a place to come, which wasn't true for everybody. But there's a certain group where, due to social reasons or economic reasons or like rejection or neglect, and like that wasn't necessarily their case, but in general, those were the things that were causing people who could get better to not. And so I sat with David and Allison and I was just like, they're going to die and I don't think they need to. And so we talked about like, well, what could it look like if we created a treatment center? So we had space for one room where we could bring these two babies. We could do therapeutic feedings for malnutrition. We could make sure they were getting their medicines. We could really like invest in, and not to take them from their families, but like how could we engage in a way that could maybe have a different outcome? And Allison said, well, maybe we try. I mean, it was very similar to like other steps of the way. Let's try. And it wasn't like, let's try without the right connections with pediatricians or the right team to actually do the work. But it was like, let's try without a certainty of outcome. Like, let's believe that they're worth what this is going to cost. And they're worth the love that we're going to invest in this. And so that's what we did. And so we brought the two kids and created this one-room center. And Victoria, who is still on our staff, was the original caregiver. And we made the formula and we made sure they were on the proper medications and did the daily weights and continued to consult with those that we needed to. And after 6 weeks, the youngest, his name was Felix, and he was, in addition to HIV, had TB, and he went into respiratory distress. And so we took him to the government hospital in Eldoret, and he passed away within a couple of days. But for the little girl who we were taking care of, she slowly came back to life. And where she originally was nonverbal, she started calling all of us who were taking care of her mama. She just began to grow, and we watched life come back into her. And within a couple of months, she was ready to go back to the community and did so. And she would then, like, we supported her to be able to be at the children's home that was in our neighborhood and to be in school. And so that was 2008, and now this year, in November of last year, she finished high school.
Wow.
So where, like, it was so clear, like, she was days to weeks away from dying, like, she didn't need to. And I think that our work, like, that eventually became Living Room, like, it started with those two kids. It started because God's heart sees the one, and God values them, you know. And so He gave us eyes to see them and to love them and to care for them. And again, like, we would love for everyone that we care for to be healed in the way that we pray for healing. But we actually believe that what we're called to do is to love, to give our best, for there to be excellence, for there to be room for these kids or adults to come, and that we leave the outcomes to God. And that's not a flippant, like, you don't control the outcomes, but like, there's like a depth of understanding of, like, we are called to love and to do our best. And there are certain things that are not within our control, and that we, even though there's a quote by Mother Teresa that says that if you love until it hurts, that there's no more hurt, there's only love. And I actually go back to this often because that's not my experience. And maybe it's because she had a depth that I've not reached. But my experience is that, like, if you love until it hurts, that it still hurts. Like, loss hurts. But that it matters that we love. And so, like, this invitation that we continue to have, whether it be in this one room or that would eventually grow into an 8 or a one room with 2 kids to a larger space with 8 beds, or a 26 bed or 144 bed, or like whatever the number it is, like, it's still about, like, loss is going to hurt, but that I'd rather choose for us to love and to trust God with our pain than to not, and to, like, miss the opportunities that we have, whether it be to experience healing and miracles, or the privilege, the really hard privilege, to sit alongside of others in their suffering and to trust that God's presence is there too. And that Jesus, who knows suffering and who knows death, like, he's familiar and he's there and he's willing to sit there and he's inviting us to also, like, be a part.
What you're talking about is hard. And my question is, you've watched a lot of people transition. So you've been by the bedside of a lot of people dying. Have it be them being young, newborns, babies, teenagers, all different ages. Two questions. First one is this for everybody? Is you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do we all have it in us to be able to do that, to be with people in this difficult time? Have those people be your family members, because the one thing that's guaranteed, somebody says it funnily, but death and taxes. So, I was about to throw in our president, but hey, I'm joking. But so the question is, because death is guaranteed for all, are you special? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Are you special that you're able to hold the hands of these people and still be, or appear to be sane?
Should be okay. It's all up in the air. I think we all have the capacity for compassion. I think we all have the capacity on some level to accompany others through joy and grief. Like, I think that that's possible. I think that there are certain people who are more gifted or experienced, for sure, to be able to be in medical spaces. But I think even apart from, like, someone who's dying, I think there are opportunities, like, all the time for us to pay attention, to notice, to stop, to, like, be uncomfortable. Like, I'm not comfortable with someone who's in pain or has
You don't
anguish.
get used to it.
No, we're not supposed to, because there wasn't ever supposed to be death. Like, death is not a normal thing. Like, I know we say it's kawaida, but it's not. Like, there wasn't supposed to be death. So I think it's okay for us to, like, really hold on to, like, the hope that someday there's not going to be death. There's not going to be sickness. There's not going to be the grief that lament holds. Like, it's because it's broken. But what I think where the redemption can come in is this opportunity is, like, this is not normal. This is not right. But you were made in God's image. And because of your value, like, I'm willing to sit and be here, because someday, like, hopefully someone's going to sit with me too. Like this is all part of our story, And as much as, like, that's uncomfortable to think about, like, I believe, like, that's one of the things that's going to be in our lives. Yeah.
Wow. Again, the thing that's, and I'm going to put this clip in, where you talk about celebration on this side, singing on this side from celebration, singing on this side from grief. It's funny. You talked about being in this space and hearing both worlds. When we came in, there was singing and dancing on this side. They singing and dancing again on this other side, but you can tell the tone is it's different. This is grieving. One was sort of celebratory.
And we believe that with God, there's room for both. Like that we have chosen to do a work that has both celebration. We weep with those who weep, and we rejoice with those who rejoice, and we're well practiced in that. And even though that's hard, like it's something that we do.
Okay.
And they both can be worship. You know, like I think we think about praise as worship, but I think the sounds of lament are as sacred to God as our praise. And I think there's room for both of them. And I think there's a tenderness within God for the lament that if we're honest in the way that we grieve the loss and death, like not without hope, but I don't even always know what that means. Because I think there's, like, if we're honest, then there's loss. You know, there's things to cry out that God hears and welcomes.
But, no, not but. And this was your beginning. So this was the beginning of Kimbilio as we know it, or living room. I mean, till what it is today.
Yeah, so it began.
It began with loss of somebody.
A loss and coming back to life. And the tension of both, and making room that in, like, there has to be room for both.
Okay, so that is the official birth of, did you call it living room at that time? It was just, in fact, you're not even thinking of it as a name, you're just...
No, we're just doing it.
Yes.
And then...
It looks like you have done, and you're still doing into what it is that you have today.
So I thank God that I did not have a big picture. Like, I did not see where we would become, and I don't know where we're fully going. You know, it's not like that we don't have plans, but it's like, I didn't know I was going to meet Joe. I didn't know that there was going to be treatment. I didn't know that I would, within going to home visits with our team, like, the opportunity that was in front of us and the choice that we had to say yes or no. And in saying yes, what that would then lead to. And then someone else would come and say, like, we actually need help too. And then someone else. And then you're growing. And then it just became this, well, we're doing it. So what does that mean now? You know, and more and more I was feeling, because so every week Joe Mamlin on Fridays would come to the clinic with the Kenyan team that was doing HIV work in, like, not far from us. And every week on Fridays we would bring people from the community to get their treatment, and Joe would welcome me to sit beside him and to see patients. And so, like, for 10 years, I sat every Friday and I watched the level of care that he gave with each person he interacted with. And I watched, like, the boldness and the courage that he had to just keep dreaming. Like, he was now 75. He was dreaming of, like, how do we do this better? Like, he wouldn't sleep at night because he was thinking there's still more people who need access. And so like this is deep level of commitment towards reducing suffering and, like, fighting for life that I think in getting to sit alongside and be a witness, like, it grew me. And it gave me the courage that as we, like, from the clinic where we were sending people who were, like I described earlier, who for social reasons or economic reasons, they were so sick, they were going to die, and many had been rejected by families, isolated. And so we were sending them to the government hospital to die and to share a bed with, you know, whoever was going to be at the hospital. And it just, like, more and more, I just felt like, well, one, they maybe don't need to die, but two, like, they need a refuge. They need a place to come where like we had done for these kids, where we could give the medication, we could stand alongside and just affirm their worth day and night, make sure they had the right nutrition, and the hope that for many they would get better and go to the community. And so that's really where Living Room started. So in 2009, so in 2008 in December, so after the clashes, but then after we'd cared for these kids, I actually went to a retreat center in France.
Had you been home, by the way?
Yeah, so I would go home every year and a half, for a month or so.
And there'd be like
month or two.
And
I just kept coming back. But after the clash, like the post-election violence, like I wasn't at the greatest place. Like I was really wrestling with what had happened and trying to figure out maybe I'm done. And I went to this like beautiful, cold place in France, and debriefed my experience with this counselor who, she mostly spoke French, but she listened to me and she guided me. And as we like processed, like the one thing I knew when I left home, or when I left the retreat after a week, was like, there's hard things that have happened, but that I still want to be there.
Wow.
And so then it was over the next year that we continued to like bring like a patient or two in for inpatient. But you came back to Kenya. Yeah. But I needed to actually process what had happened, and name the things that were griefs, to name the things that were losses, to like not just make it okay, but like the question was, but can I still go back? Like, can I still come here and like to this community and, you know, Kenya in general, and live wholeheartedly, I think. And that was the thing that, I mean, the retreat just got me to a place where I knew like there's really hard, horrible things that happened, and that God saw and knows and cares, and that I wasn't done. Wow.
It sounds like the post-election violence was a turning point for you. It was heavy. A lot happened in that. And not just that, but even before that. First of all, it's, I don't want to say you sound human, but I felt the humanness of you. You get what I mean?
No, because I am human. Yeah. I feel hunger. I feel grief. I feel tired.
Yeah.
I get frustrated. All of the things.
You're not superhuman.
Never. And it was just a time, you know, where it was scary, and it felt like at any time, any moment, like something really horrible is going to happen, and at times it did, you know. So I just think war is a horrible thing, and when you experience it within a place and a people where you've always felt safe and belonged, like then it just it's not just unsettling, it's like disorienting, which I think was true for the entire country.
It was.
Like it wasn't like, you know, it was an isolated thing.
But there were some hotspots, let's call them that.
So Eldoret was one of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. But with all that's happened, you still come back.
So I come back in 2009, and by the end of the year is when I know like it's time for Living Room to start.
Yeah. So my name is Richard, and I'm part of an amazing team, and my job is to storytell. So I'm telling the story of this amazing space and the impact that it is having on all the people who come here. So I'd just like you to tell me a little bit about yourself. What is it that you do here, so that I can have a better understanding.
Okay. So,
It's okay. Just let me hold it.
so
Action, girl.
I'm Jacob, at Jacob Ananda. Currently, I'm a teacher at this hospice. This is our resource center where I teach the children who are here. And before that, I was a guest. I was a patient at the living room, that's hospice. I came here in 2011. Before that, I used to work in Nairobi as a teacher. Then one time, the attacks who came and attacked and shot me. So the bullet went through this part, so it injured my spinal cord. And that's why you see me on the wheelchair. So I was shot. Then that was 2010. Then they took me to Nairobi Hospital, that's the Kenyatta National Hospital, where I stayed for almost 8 months. During that period, I developed bed sores. They were so big. Then after 7 months, I was discharged. Then I came back to my home, which is 6 kilometers away from this living room. So I came here in 2011. Then I had so many bed sores. So the reason why I came to the hospice was because of the bed sores. And so it took me around 5 years in the hospice. Yes, 5 years. So during that period, the wounds were treated. Then I was discharged after 5 years. Then I went back to my family. I stayed there for a short time. Then after some time, also the living room came back, and they were asking for my service. Come and assist the children who are around, who are in the hospice, who are sick, and who are supposed to be in school. And so that's what I've been doing up to date.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. You have an incredible story and one of resilience. So thank you that you're still doing what it is that you're doing, still teaching and still empowering the next generation. How old are the children who come into this space? How old are the children who you've had the opportunity to mentor or teach?
Yeah, from 6 years to 12 years old.
Wow.
Yes.
And what is it that you teach them?
Okay, what I do, first of all, apart from teaching, I teach them about their values and worth. That's number one. Number two, I teach them about the service system, Kenyan system, the CBC now. That's what I'm doing. And so I've been having a number of them. Since that time up to then, I've had around 50 children who have gone through my system. And that's what I'm doing now.
And I'm sure because of the situation of maybe the children that are here, you've also got, how do you work with them on their mental?
Okay, first of all, I've gone through that system. So whenever I get them, we just have to explain and tell them about my story. Then because I know what they are going through, because I've already gone through that, so it's very easy to handle them and teach them. Yes.
For me, I think I just want to say thank you so much for what it is that you're doing. You have an incredible story, and may God bless you and reward you for your service.
Grateful to see you and to have talk with you. Yes. Welcome.
We often talk about hope. Like Jacob and I talk about hope, and like even when you first came to living room, like the place apart from the physical condition, like where you were at mentally and emotionally, and you talk about like your experience of how you were cared for, and like it wasn't in a short period of time. You know, it's like not just the wounds took a long time, but there were probably other wounds that needed healing too.
Yeah, so first of all, I can say this. When I was in Nairobi, there was Kenyatta National Hospital. The services were different from what I got to this place. First thing, I got hope. When I came to this place, the way I was received, not like the other places. And the care, that was, everybody, that passion and compassion, I saw it. And they were so much welcoming. And that's why I got hope. And from there, I accepted my condition the way it was. And that's why you can see now I've improved. I wasn't like this before. Yes.
Wow. You know, As I've walked through this space, I think the understanding of what is being done here is really coming to life and seeing you. So one of the things that I asked Julie was about the people who work here. And she told me that some of them had been here and they've come back and now are giving hope to the next people who are here. What made you come back?
Okay, that was first of all, I liked the place. I told you about the hope and the care. Those were the most important things. Then also, because I was a teacher, and also I knew the children who were around this place needed me. Because they were supposed to be in school, and they could not make it because of the illness. So I came in to assist these children, and that was my passion. That's number one. Then also, I was given that it's like a kind of a job, because I used to do that. So I didn't just want to sit at home, and at least there's a place where I'm loved. It's like my second home. So that's why I came to this place, because of that, the love, and the hope that I was given.
And did you get the wheelchair from this place or?
Oh, definitely. In fact, there are so many things that I got from this. That's number one is the wheelchair. When I was in Kenyatta, I didn't have the wheelchair. Even when I went home, I didn't have the wheelchair. So when I came to this place, that movement, I couldn't move. Yes. So this is one of the things that I was given from this place. And there are so many other things.
I want you to speak to somebody. This time, don't even look at me. Just look into the camera and speak to somebody who may be given up, may have had a bad thing happen to them because a bad thing happened to you that was not in your control. But you're still here. You still somehow found hope. So I want you to speak to that person. They may not have the opportunity to come back here, but I really feel that you have something to say to them.
Number one is that if you get yourself in a condition like mine, the first thing is to accept. When you accept, everything will be okay. Then you must have faith in your living God. And also, just be, submissive. Do exactly what the doctors tell you to do. Follow the instructions. Then things will be okay. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for letting us interrupt your class.
No problem.
He's very serious. He's a very good teacher, and we don't interrupt his progress because it's important, right?
That's very good.
Yeah.
Hi.